Okay, it looks like normally they play here films. They go also for 2 hours. There is a bit more action. I start anyway because of the schedule, and I will go rapid. So to not use too much time. You will find me in the lobby and other places at the unconference. I'm very willing to talk with you and showing things. For the moment, we just go ahead. That's me. I'm 10 years at Magnolia. Why are you here? You're here because you are interested in the product. You bet on the product to some degree. You use it in a project. You maybe want to do a project. You're a partner. You try to convince other people. So, insights. I'm mainly talking about 5.4. Why have we done 5.4? It's the easiest way to understand what the value is in this release, because there are not a lot of visual new features, is to understand some insights. The important thing is, when we started with this release, we were looking around, and what we see is a shift of power. We have seen a shift of power with IoT and so on, but here I'm talking about developers. Things are moving to the front end. People working with front end technology, they really catched up. They have their build tools, they have many libraries, so it's not like, yeah, here are the front end guys with JavaScript, and here are the real Java developers anymore. So we are equal, and because we are equal, they also drive the decision what technology should be used. Now, the problem here is that front-end technologies change rapidly today. There are different flavors, there is competition, what's the best approach. So it's really hard to build something out of the box, which works for everybody. The CMS cannot be an obstacle. For these people, they will not decide for a CMS if they think the CMS is actually in their way, depending on the project. But we had a bigger vendor, real big vendor. They decided today, not today, but this year, 2015, to build their own CMS with 20 people, because they were afraid because with the front end something might not just work as they want. So maybe that's a repetition of history. At some point, everybody had here his CMS. Now the front-end world does the same thing, but really, the CMS cannot be an obstacle. Magnolia is powerful. It's not always easy. So if you are a skilled Java team, you will be successful. If not, we realized in projects it can be hard. So we reduce complexity, we remove obstacles, and when we were thinking about the new release, we had these 3 prototypes here of developers. The hipsters, sorry for Jimmy, I don't know Jimmy, so Jimmy Clueless. He also wants to work with Magnolia, but yeah, he doesn't have the super skills, and the Java nerds. Java nerds were pissed because they needed to do work which they thought others can do, and the front-end people just didn't like to interact with Magnolia, so they work completely outside of Magnolia, and then someone needed to transfer their work. That's what we have now. So you see that, and that's where we want to get to. So it's very important to lower the entry barrier, make things easier, to bring these 2 worlds of front-end technologies and back-end technologies together so that the front-end people can do much more in the product. The big goal, we set the big goal when we started to work on 5.4, is that in one day, an average developer can learn how to work with Magnolia. We had in yesterday's workshop such an exercise, test case, and I think we succeeded in that. If you start with something like that, what should you do? What should we change to make it easier? It's relatively simple to say it needs to be easier. So what we did is actually come back to our DNA, that Magnolia should combine flexibility and simplicity, and it should be a joy to work with. And this was really the attitude when we were thinking about how can we lower this entry barrier, how can we make the development easier. We did some research. Thanks for those who replied to this survey, what we should change. Configuration should be easier. Now we have configuration in files. You can have these files also in your Java project. It's more readable, and it's much easier to interact with source control this way. That's here an example how it looked before. So this is actually the content which matters, a bootstrap file, and this is the content today of the same file. Resource. That's nice, you can do that more often. Resource handling. We had a POC, it was embarrassing, also really for me. One guy tried over a week to add a CSS file. And that was really the how do you say, eye-opening moment. We have streamlined all handling with the files. So we have introduced a cascade of loading. So for resources, template scripts, configuration files, it works just the same way. And it tries first to load it from inside Magnolia, then it looks on the file system, then looks it in the class path in your Java modules. That means you can always overload the things, and you just need to learn one approach, which I think is relatively easy to understand, and everything will follow this. This is the resources app. You can do hotfixes. I have there is enough time still for the short demo video. We have Light introduced. I think that's probably conceptually the biggest change. We have introduced Light modules which don't require Java. This is especially for the front-end developers. They don't want to have Maven, meta-inf, Magnolia.xml files, and all this stuff. They just want to work on the file system. And because it has the same structure as the modules you build in Java, you can just use the same sources there. This is the one day, no, it doesn't take a day. That's the new Hello Magnolia tutorial, which shows you how to work with Magnolia. And here you see how such a file structure looks like. You see that the dialog configuration, the resources, and templates are all together. We will make further steps, but here we have not changed the way you configure, so the same structure, the patterns you know from Magnolia are just the same. It's just easier to work with. And because it's beautiful, I decide to show you still the video. I will cut a bit on the more abstract content afterward. So, does this play? Does it play for you? Ah, yeah. So we download this zip file. Now I need to watch here. It's a good yoga exercise. It's extracted. You see here the file structure, the things I showed you, the resources, templates. I go to Magnolia. In there, we have an overview app where you can see all the loaded configuration. That's currently still on the forge, but we work on it. Let's go and see all elements of Hello. We have one dialog. Let's have a look at it. And here you really browse the content of the memory, no matter how you have configured it. You also see in the upper right corner the green indicator that everything is OK with this configuration. There you would see the errors, and you can open the file and have a quick look at it. So, OK, this module is installed. Everything nice. So let's prove it by quickly creating a page. Please, yeah. Give it the name. Ah, good. And we select our new template, and that works. We add a component, so to proceed with our exercise. That's part of this Hello World example, and we make a quote. Is it really that easy? Good. Now, here in the web dev zone, you see the new tooling for the development. You go in the resources. The good thing here is you see now a combined overview, what's loaded from the class path, from the file system. And I go to my configuration file. We use the YAML format, if it was not obvious yet. I say I want to hotfix it. It imports it in Magnolia, and I can directly edit it. So I make just another content field here, call it quotation 2. And you can also do that directly on the file system, as we will see afterward. And we go and edit this component and see if it is loading this hotfix. The hotfix I could then publish to my public instance immediately if I want. So you see, we have now this additional field. I can edit it. And surprisingly, it doesn't show the content. Now, I was telling that there is this, I can work with the files, I can work in Magnolia, and it's all the same. Let's go to the file system and see if I can change the template. Go into the editor. I quickly just lazy copy the other line. Add quotation 2, so that we see add more, so that we see where this content is, if it really works. I save it, go back to Magnolia, reload it, and you see it works. So it's not voodoo. It's nothing easy to sell business people, but everybody who is developing with Magnolia would probably understand where he will save money. So we saw hotfixes working on files, light modules, we saw the resources, and the new configuration format. What do you need if you want to make templates? So we decided to base our new approach more on functions rather than components, ready-made components. So it's more like playing Lego. We have added Lego brickets for search, images, site, content pools. We're currently working on the navigation. We released just the beta now, and we will move forward. An example here, that's the search. Instead of giving you a component which then anyway doesn't fit really your project, we give you the library to do it. If you have content in different places, like tours in our examples later, you can just use CMS F and link, and it will create you the nice link to this element. If you have worked before with pages and content apps, you know how helpful this is. You could say, we want more out of the box. Wait, I think that's too expensive. We made a test run when we built the new approach, if we wanted to replace SDK. And what we realized is, hey, it's good. With these new technologies, with this new front-end technology, you have so much out of the box that if we also try to make this out of the box, we would just conflict. So how can it be efficient? The point here is the world has changed a little bit. This was SDK approach. Out of the box, a lot out of the box. You do a little bit of customization. That's our new approach. You get a little bit less. You get these templating essentials, the new technology, these functions. and you build your stuff. Okay, that looks like the second approach is more expensive for you. But today, it actually has changed. The customization to adapt to all your front-end technologies, to really make all these things you need to do today, which didn't exist like half a year ago, it's much more expensive to adapt to it. You have your own best practice, so your front-end developers bring their own best practice, which probably doesn't match our out-of-the-box approach. And that's why the second approach is more light and less expensive. So the new solution, the new templating essential is front-end technology agnostic. And here, that's how I compare the two. The old approach is more like Playmobil. It's super fast. If you want to play with such a car and you want to make da-da-da and play hospital. As soon you want to play police, you can still say it's a police car. But then suddenly it starts to be difficult. While with the fundamental functions you can do, you can build your stuff, and we are listening to you what you need. Even with Lego, there are bigger pieces today because you don't want to put all the things like small together. We will add slowly also some bigger pieces to make your life easier, like support for search, support for navigation, support for teasers, and so on. We have a new demo which shows this approach. We have here, you see the tours. This is actually coming from a content app. In this demo, we show you have the Tours app, where you can enter your tours. You have the Categories app, so that you can define your categories. In here, you would say, I will have action tours, I have leisure tours, I have tours in Europe, I have tours in the US. And if you go here, you see in the navigation here now that this is dynamically built based on this information. And it's not hard anymore, because the linking works. If you click then on a link on such a category, it will show you a page where you see this information. So it's actually driven from this. Still, there are parts of a website which are page-driven, hierarchy-driven, like here. And here you have a tour overview page where you show then your tours, and you also have pages, normal pages, about pages, contact pages, and that works all nicely together. So instead of giving you 10 templates, article, news, events, and so on, we give you the tool to build this quickly. And then you will probably anyway think, oh yeah, news, events, this is content. It has nothing to do with pages. You move that to a structured content app. And the WYSIWYG editing, you will have more in the pages, and so on. Can you use the new demo? No. The new demo is not part of the supported product. That's how we see it. Before we had Playmobil, HTML and the theme was part of the supported stack, which even if we changed a div name, it meant migration for our customers. So we would have people who complain. On the other hand, it started to be outdated. And that's why we said, no, let's focus on the new approach, templating functions. And the demo is here to convince people, to convince that it's a good product, to convince developer, and to also show developer how to work. Some of you have used SDK. SDK had so many good things. No problem, we plunder it. We anyway plundered that already. We have moved the areas in 4.5 to the standard product. We have moved images, sites, and the resources. I know a bit over time, but this question, the next question, is some would put that at the beginning. And that's why I will just then stop afterward. Do we need to migrate? No, you don't need to migrate. It's a separate modern approach. We have not changed the templating. The basic functions still work. We just realized when we did these POCs with Angular and so on, these things are good, but we want to give you a certain layer that you can build your projects faster. So SDK still works. Our integration tests today still work with SDK. So templating hasn't changed. Use it if you think you are more efficient, if you know your structure of SDK, and if you know that your customization is small enough and the building would be bigger, go for it. It's still okay. I strongly believe that in a year, because the world is changing so much, that this is anyway not going to be lively anymore. Can you do projects? Yes, just do it. Start with the front end, add some functions, especially design the content apps, because people can then already enter content, so there is no problem. And define your REST points. You anyway start with these technologies to use Magnolia more and more as a content storage, content editing, while the delivery is REST-based. Yeah, sorry, I said I will not go further, but these functions and the technologies you have out there, this is the new standard templating. These are the templating essentials. And this follows our product principle, flexibility, simplicity, and it's a joy to work with. And you see, it's less like ski jumping, it's more like sledge riding, we hope. We have a beta today. We ship in June a final version. The empty part will still be tagged as 0.5. We will learn now at the conference, we will learn afterward and add more things. We still decided to ship because we think there is a lot of value. And the journey is not over. We want to have that even more seamless than it is today, that the front-end developer can really nicely work with Magnolia without even feeling that there is something which is in his way. Yeah, I beg your pardon, I'm out of time here. There is the unconference where we can see more. There is a talk especially about showing how the configuration works. There is a talk about the templating, I think, today. And I'm also willing to show you more in the lobby. Just grab me. Thank you.